It's a pleasure to have on I think for the first time. I could be wrong. I think so. Trey Gowdy. How are you, Trey Gowdy?
I am doing great, Counselor. You and I have something in common with only one word changed.
What?
So Sean calls you the great one, and he calls me the average one. So it's only one word. Only one word different.
It's all right. My wife calls me the great big one, meaning stomach. So there you go. You know, Trey, I'm going to tell you something. I've read this book, The Color of Death. I don't know how to write a novel. I can't write a novel. It is a huge accomplishment. It is a huge success. It's tough to write a novel, isn't it?
It is, Mark, but I mean, let's be honest. You have written more books than I have read. There's nothing you cannot do. It is a completely different genre, but you were a DOJ prosecutor. I mean, this story has been in my head for a decade. I just am thankful that Suzanne Scott, gave me the confidence and kind of forced me to have the courage to do it. Nonfiction, what you do can be fact checked. And which is why it takes you years probably to write your books, and they're so well researched. I mean, the beauty of fiction is you can make it up, but you're also going to be critiqued differently. So it's different. I wasn't sure I could pull it off. I'm not sure I did pull it off, but it was a ton of fun to do. Well, thank you.
You know what? I watch these shows at night, Trey Gowdy, Forensic Files.
Yes, sir.
And there you are. No, and you're damn good at it. And I'm watching you, and I'm thinking to myself, my God, I wouldn't want this guy prosecuting me. You were a scary-ass prosecutor, weren't you?
Well, I had good facts, and you and I both know good facts make good lawyers. First of all, you're innocent, so I would never
I hope so.
I can tell by looking at you, you're innocent. I really put my heart into that. I was actually overheard my wife talking to my daughter today. My daughter is a public defender, and she said that Daddy used to fake cry in jury trials because that's what they say at the courthouse. And my wife said, I'm not saying he's above that, but he really put his heart and soul into representing those homicide victims. So it would not surprise me if it was genuine. And you know what it's like. You work at DOJ. I mean, they look to you to provide the only justice they're going to get. It's an awesome, incredible responsibility.
Mm-hmm. So why this story? Why did you focus on this story?
Truth be told, Mark, all fiction has a grain of truth to it. I prosecuted a case involving a beautiful young mom who was killed in a beauty salon. Every other facet of the book is different. The killer is different. The suspects, all of it I changed. But it was a way for me to honor Dana Satterfield, and it took us a decade to solve her case. I remember to this day where I was when my sheriff called me and said, "Are you sitting down?" And I said, "No, but I can." And he said, "We think we have solved Dana's murder." It had been a decade that her parents and children were waiting, and it wound up being a 17-year-old high school student that did it. And so that was kind of how can I honor crime victims without making the family relive the crime? I actually don't watch true crime. I don't watch the documentaries. I can't watch. I can watch made up stuff, but I can't watch it if I think it really happened to someone.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're an excellent analyst of the law. You're an excellent analyst of federal and state law. You're very articulate. Just tell me, does this come from training as a lawyer and a prosecutor? Is this something that you always kind of had?
Well, if my English teachers are listening, they would be jumping out right now to answer that question for you. I clerked for a federal judge, and I did not know how to type, and I did not really know how to write. And I clerked for him for 2 years. And I had to write a redistricting and reapportionment opinion for him, several hundred pages. So I had to learn to type, And I think if you're a good public speaker, if you're good with closing arguments and opening statements, you have to be a good writer, because I wrote all of my stuff. Even when I was in Congress, for better or worse, every word that came out of my mouth, I wrote. I can't, I mean, I'm sure you have umpteen million chances to do public speaking. I can't put my heart into something. Yeah. You could. You probably don't have the time. I could not put emotion into something somebody else wrote. So I like to write. It's my favorite thing of all the things I do. You wear a ton of hats. You're television, radio, you're a brilliant legal mind, you're a prolific author. I don't know if writing is number one for you, but it is my favorite thing to do.
And I think for me too, and I'm guessing for you, because it's solitary, and that's actually a good thing. Without a lot of interruption, you sit down, you think things through, and it really takes all your brain cells, doesn't it? It really takes a comprehensive thought process to come up. And with a novel, I would even think more. So you've written a best-selling novel, you've written a best-selling nonfiction. Which was harder?
Oh, by far. I think by far the fiction, because you know, the nonfiction. I kind of got talked into. How do you write a question? People, I'm sure they ask you. How do you cross-examine someone? So I said, well, I'll write a book for lay people on cross-examination. And then actually my wife, in the parking lot of a grocery store, they were putting pressure on me to write another self-help book. And I thought, well, I can write a book about how to gain 10 pounds, but what else do I know? And she said, well, why don't you tell people why you left the courtroom? How do you make major decisions in life? You left a job you loved to run for Congress, which you didn't enjoy. Tell them about the mistakes you made. So those just flowed. This one, my great fear is that people would have figured out the killer in the first couple of pages, and they would have said, look, you're the worst writer, I've ever read, and I had this thing figured out. So some people are motivated by a desire for success. I am motivated by a fear of failure. Compliments, I don't want to say they go one in ear and out the other, but what motivates me is I don't want people to think I failed.
That is really interesting. I think I'm similar in that respect. I think a lot of people are too. Rush used to talk about the fact he was fired 7 times and failed, and wanted to prove that it was them, not him. We're here with Trey Gowdy, his New York Times best-selling novel, The Color of Death. This is a great book. You can get it at Amazon.com, any major bookstore. Let's dig into this a little bit, Trey. So you have this assistant DA, Colm Truesdale,
yes,
and all hell kind of breaks loose in his life. He's depressed. He's down and out. He loses his wife and his daughter. And then this horrific crime takes place. And then what happens?
I think he realizes that the only life he has left is his professional life. Every cut that life can give you, he has suffered. I can't imagine losing a child, Mark, and I haven't. But I know people who have, and I tried to imagine what's bottom. Bottom is losing the 2 things you love the most, and so you have a choice. You can, there's a slight difference between wanting to die and just being apathetic about whether you live. And he's apathetic about whether he lives, but he's really good in court. And so that's his calling. And I think part of him sees his wife when he sees this young lady laying on the floor of a beauty salon, killed in really a savage way, a subhuman way. And, I think, God gives us gifts, and he had a gift for being a good prosecutor. And the question was whether that was enough to sustain him.
I get the impression from this book for sure, and from comments you make from time to time, that you're a man of deep faith. Is that correct?
It is, but it is complicated because I had to leave the courtroom because it was ruining my faith. Just to be really candid, with you. I never wanted to run for Congress. I never looked in the mirror and saw a member of the House. I was running away from the courthouse. We had 3 children under the age of 11 killed in a 1-week murder in a 1-week time period. And, there's an old prophet named Habakkuk in the Old Testament who literally would ask God, how can you let this happen? And I found myself asking God that a lot. How can you possibly let this happen? So my wife and my mom sat me down and said, you have to go do something else. I had no desire to be in Congress, and that probably showed at times. But my love was the courtroom, but it was ruining my faith, Mark, to be honest with you.
Well, that is a very important statement because, in my faith, a lot of people began questioning God during and after the Holocaust. How could God let this sort of thing happen? And I suppose anybody who faces these horrendous things, it questions their faith, and ultimately they find their faith. Did you find your faith?
Yes, sir. It's kind of a line from the Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas, where the Edmond Dantes tells the priest, he says, I don't believe in God, but the priest says, that's okay, he believes in you. Mm-hmm. It's hard to be upset or question someone who doesn't exist, is what I keep telling myself, that clearly he exists because you're asking him questions. What's really bad is when you stop asking him questions, Trey. And so it's okay to do like the prophet Habakkuk. It's okay. People in the New Testament would ask God to change his mind. It's okay to do that. It's okay to wonder why. How could you let this happen? I think what I fear is when the questions stop because I just give up and I don't care anymore. And I've not reached that point. My wife is really the model for the light in this book, a waitress named Belle, because my wife is a devoutly spiritual person and authentically so, Mark, not fake. I mean, she doesn't talk about it. She just shows you by the way she treats other people. So I wanted there to be light, but the light is not the prosecutor. The light is... But you can tell in the book he's drawn to her, and not in a romantic way, because she has something he doesn't, and he wants it, and he needs it. And, if Miss Scott tells me to write books 2 and 3, I already have them mapped out in my head how this ends. But we need light. Light will win. It's just a question of how much darkness. You mentioned the Holocaust. I cannot fathom going through something like that. And maintaining, some people are drawn closer to their faith in times like that. And then for others of us, we just say, God, what did I do? What did I do to deserve this?
Mm-hmm. Suzanne Scott is fantastic. Isn't she the CEO of Fox News? She's just terrific. Yeah.
Oh,
there are CEOs who are tough and rude. She's the complete opposite, isn't she?
She is the reason I wrote the book. I was in her office talking about a real case in South Carolina, Alex Murdoch, and she said, would you have any interest in writing fiction? They got a stable full of thoroughbreds at Fox. You know that. Mm-hmm. Mark, you're one of them. They got thoroughbreds. Why are you asking a pack mule to write a fiction book? But she said, take a chance on it. And I wanted to do a good job for her. Again, I didn't want to fail. It is not... some people want... you come in my office right now, and I hope one day you'll visit me in Spartanburg. You can't tell what I did for a living. You can't tell where I went to school. I have a bust of Abraham Lincoln, and that's about it. And a picture of John Radcliffe. That's about all I have in my office. but
well, they're close.
And I'm about to get rid of the picture of Radcliffe because he beat me in golf, so I'm going to take that down. But I fear failure, and I didn't want to fail her. So I really put my heart and soul in the book.
Well, you're a very accomplished individual. I can tell you my audience here admires you. You're the number 1 host on Sunday evenings, and there's a reason for that. You're very good at what you do. And I just want to thank you, and I do look forward to meeting you one of these days, if I ever get out of my bunker. And God bless you, my friend. Congratulations. Say it again.
You and I have so many. You and I have so many friends in common. I mean, when I told Kevin McCarthy I was coming on your show, he just went on and on and on about you.
Well, we got to get to know each other. It's my fault. It's not your fault.
I get to watch you every Sunday night.
Yeah, that's not the same thing.
It's not the same. I would love it because Kevin and Tim Scott have both been on your show, and they speak so glowingly of you, and all your colleagues at Fox feel the same way. And
likewise.
I don't know. When I hear Sean call you the great one, I just say, well, he's out of my league. He's out of my league.
And you're very endearing, too. But, when I'm on TV, I'm pissed off usually. So that's not the entire Mark Levin. But, Trey Gowdy, I want to thank you. Class act. I really enjoyed this very, very much. I want to encourage you folks, get the book, The Color of Death. You're going to love this book by Trey Gowdy. God bless you, brother.
God bless you too, Morgan. You write a fiction book. I want you to do that.
I'm not able to. Please. I'm not capable of it. All right. Take care, man. All right.
God bless you. Yes, sir.
Bye-bye.